So Modern Warfare 2's Season 1 content was revealed just yesterday. They released a roadmap and a bunch of new information going on with this season, as well as for Warzone 2 and DMZ. And I didn't make a video on it because I honestly didn't really have much to say about it at the time. I'm not going to make a video on something unless I have something to say. That's kind of just my philosophy. I'm never just going to post a video and be like, oh, this is what happened. If I don't have anything important to say about it, I'm probably not going to cover it. But when it comes to this, I did start to think about something, and I kind of wanted to have a bit of a rant regarding it. And this is the fact that there are no new maps in this season, at least according to the roadmap. Of course, they could surprise us with, Season 1 Reloaded. They could give us something. But based on this roadmap, it looks like Season 1 is only going to have 2 new maps. And that means for the entire multiplayer, like not just 2 new 6v6, no, 2 new maps, like period. There's not even a ground war map here. There's no gunfight, none of that. So it's just 2 6v6 maps, and they're both remakes. And to make matters even worse, they're 2 remakes from a Call of Duty that just came out a couple years ago. I mean, obviously Shipment's much older than that, but we've been seeing Shipment every year anyways, or at least every non-Treyarch year. And now we're of course getting it again along with Shoot House. Now, these are 2 maps I love. I love Shipment, obviously. I did not love Modern Warfare 2019 Shipment. I thought that was terrible. Thankfully, this Shipment is going to be a more classic version of it. It looks like it's got actually the diagonal crates as opposed to the straight ones, which we saw in Modern Warfare 2019, which just did not work at all. The layout there was terrible. So thankfully, they went back to the old layout. Shoot House is a pretty good map too. I didn't love it too much, but that's only because I wasn't a big fan of how Modern Warfare 2019's mechanics worked. But I do think because Modern Warfare 2 is a much better game, I do think it could play better on Shoot House. So I'm excited to play these 2 maps, don't get me wrong. But the issue is, it's a whole season with no new maps. Not a single new map at all, not even for ground war or anything. It's just this. Of course, we have Al Mazrah with Warzone, but that's Warzone. I'm talking solely with multiplayer. We do not have a new map. I fully understand why this is the case, though. I think a lot of people online don't really understand why they're so obsessed with remakes and why we don't get as many new maps anymore. I know why it is. There's 2 reasons. First of all, and both the reasons work very well off of each other. So first of all, remakes get the community more excited. Regardless of what you personally want, it is definitely indisputable that remakes are more exciting because of nostalgia. People love nostalgia. It really makes a big difference on their experience. So when they see, Shipments returning, it gets them excited. When they see Hard Hat returning, or Dome, or Firing Range, or Summit, or whatever maps it might be, it gets them excited because they're old classic maps that they remember playing when they were younger, and they cannot wait to see how it plays in the new game. As opposed to a new map that they've never seen before, and they don't know anything about it, and now they have to learn this completely new map. It's not as exciting for a lot of people. Now, obviously, you can have your own opinion. Like I said, personally, I do get a little bit more excited for a new map just because I'm always excited to see how a new map will play within the mechanics of the game. And of course, I'm okay with remakes too. I don't mind them. Like, I'm fine with having remakes. I think Black Ops Cold War was a prime example of a game full of remakes, but I really loved all the remakes, so I was okay with it. But not having a single new map for a season, that's when I start to draw the line, right? Cold War didn't even do that. Cold War had at least 1 new map every season. Even seasons that didn't really have that much, like Season 2, we all complained because there was only 2 new maps, and only one of them was actually new, and the other one was just Miami, but smaller. So, it was a bit of a complaint from a lot of people because we were expecting 2 to 3 maps or something like that. But this season, again, just based on what we know right now, it looks like it's just going to be 2 remakes and nothing else. That is strange to me. It's really strange, especially because this game had a pretty long life cycle. Like, assuming nothing went wrong since, Modern Warfare 2019 came out. Of course, the pandemic happened, but in terms of development otherwise, not many of the things went terribly wrong with it, right? So I just don't fully understand why they weren't able to make a couple more maps, you know what I mean? And I was okay with 10 maps at launch. Even in Cold War, I was okay with 8 at launch because it's it's just launch. We're going to get new maps soon anyways. And I really felt like we were going to get bombarded with DLC maps for this season because I was like, oh, if they only give us 10 maps at launch, that must mean they got a lot in store for the seasons. But, we don't have a single new map for Season 1. Now, of course, they can start throwing a bunch at us Season 2 and onward, but just based on the information we have now, it's just strange to see. And looking at the actual maps themselves, look, I love both those maps, like I've said, but why are you releasing Shoot House and Shipment at the same season? And not the same time, because technically Shipment comes out a little bit later because it's an in-season map as opposed to coming out right away. But why would you release the two smallest maps, the ones that people mainly like to play to rank up their guns, get new camos and stuff, because they're small maps, they're very hectic? Why would you release those in the same season instead of like spreading them out? You know, if you're gonna have two maps, there should be one smaller map and then one medium-sized, maybe not. I don't like the large maps, but definitely medium-sized, you know, your standard size map, as opposed to something really small. Instead of shooting your load this quickly with two of the probably most anticipated maps, probably for most people, why would you release those right away? You know what I mean? That would be like, I can't really think of an example, but you know, it's just to me not a great idea. Shipment, I'm okay with that right away. That makes sense. But like Shoothouse, you could have waited till season 2 or something, maybe season 3. You could have give us another remake here and there as well. Like, you don't have to throw these really fast-paced maps right at us, because the problem with that is that you're going to have all the community only wanting to play those maps, and that's it. And if you put a playlist with it, you damn well know probably like 70% of the community is just going to be on that playlist, which makes sense because a big part of this game is leveling up your guns, getting camos. That's a big part of Call of Duty. People love the grind. So, you know, that just creates this weird situation where everyone kind of feels like the game is just those two maps. It happened in Modern Warfare 2019. I mean, of course, they didn't always have Shipment available as a playlist, but whenever they did, it just became that, right? And of course, you can still choose to play other modes, but it completely warps the opinions that people have on the game otherwise, because you have all these people who think the game is incredibly fast-paced because all they play is Shipment. That's all they play. So they think the game is fully centered around Shipment, and they have no other experience in all the other maps because they don't really play them. They don't. And it makes sense. If I go back to Vanguard, I don't want to be wasting my time. I want to level up my guns as fast as possible. So yeah, I'm going to hop on Shipment. It just makes sense, right? Of course, you know, I'm not always going to want to do that, because sometimes I want to, you know, relax a little bit more and play a more calm experience. That's definitely not, you know, slow. I don't like slow matches, but definitely not on the same level of what you'll see in Shipment. But it's just not going to happen when you have these maps in the game, and I'm assuming they're going to give us the 24/7 playlists of them. So I don't know. A little strange to have those be the map choices. Other than the maps, the season looks decent otherwise. I mean, there's a lot of new guns. I believe 4 guns in total. 3 of them I think are coming right away, so that's really good. In terms of guns, they got us covered, right? Of course, people were saying they're available in the campaign anyways, but I don't really care. Whatever, I didn't play them in the campaign, so they're new to me. So I'm excited to use them. Actually, I might have used the Honey Badger, I think, once or twice in the I forget. I've used something that was not in the multiplayer, but regardless, most of these guns I haven't really used much, so I'm excited to try them out in multiplayer. The operators don't look very interesting. I think they're like, you know, soccer players or whatever. They don't look that interesting to me. I don't know. I'm not like a big soccer fan, so I guess that's why. But whatever, they're there. And that's it. Gaz is coming in season as well. Some operator named Klaus. And you have your bundles and everything like that. That's whatever. New battle pass system looks kind of interesting. Apparently, they're going with the Fortnite battle pass system, the newer one, where you can essentially like choose what you want in between different subcategories. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but it sounds somewhat interesting. And then obviously everything else coming with this update is for Warzone. There's one new Spec Ops mission. Not a lot for co-op. I don't think we're going to be getting much co-op content this year. And they're adding raids in season, which is like a new mode for Modern Warfare 2. And I believe that's more so part of Spec Ops than anything else. So yeah, a lot of decent content here. I'm not like crazy about it, but it's good enough. It seems okay. Of course, it is just the first season, but I mean, if you compare us to Black Ops Cold War Season 1, I mean, Black Ops Cold War blew this season out of the water. Let's be real here. But that's going to do it for this video. Let me know your thoughts about only having 2 maps in the season, that both being remakes of small maps that we've seen really recently. So please let me know your thoughts, because I feel like, I don't know if I'm in the minority on that. I don't know. I'm happy to play them. I'm excited to play them. I feel like it would have been better to space them out and at least give us 1 new map per season. And if we're not getting a single new map this season, it just feels odd, especially with the fact that we don't really have a crazy amount of maps in the game currently. I mean, 10's fine. I'm okay with 10, but it's not nearly as much as like Vanguard, for example. Vanguard started with 16, so it's just weird comparison. It's just not very high. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Peace out.